Hello and welcome back to Hook or Crook Crochet. Today I'm going to be making these Keebler-esque cookies. Super easy project. They shouldn't take too much time. Of course, you can make them in any size. This is a little bit smaller, but I am going to show you the tools that I use to make this size of the cookie. Now, the usual suspects on supplies are your scissors, a darning needle. Today I'm going to be using a 2.75 millimeter crochet hook. Yes, this is 2.75 millimeter crochet hook. I'm going to be using two yarn colors. One is my main cookie color, and then the chocolate will be on the opposite side. I'm going to use that for the back of the cookie and the chocolate stripes on the top of the cookie. So those are all of the supplies you need. If you're new here, I tend to make crochet play food for kids. If you have any suggestions, please leave them in the comments. Please like and subscribe. And let's go ahead and get started with this cookie. So I'm going to start with a magic ring. And directly into the magic ring, I'm going to single crochet 9 stitches. You're going to want to have these stitches as uniform as possible. This is going to be the inner part of the cookie. It's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And obviously we're going to leave a bit of this circle open for the inside of the cookie. We're going to duplicate this pattern that I'm showing you to do the chocolate on the back. So you want to make sure that you leave that space open in a uniform way. I tend to measure it by, if I can slip my pinky through there without it being too tight, that's the size that I typically leave. Okay, so I'm going to sew over my tail a little bit, but not all the way, just in case I need to alter that circle. Okay, so, and then I'm going to start with doing a 2 half double crochet in each stitch around. So that'll be 18 stitches total. So in this first stitch, I'm going to do my first 2 half double crochet. And then the second 2 in the next stitch. And then I'm going to leave the tail, I'm going to let it stay out just in case I need to alter that circle a little bit later. So you're going to finish 2 half double crochet in each stitch around. You'll finish with 18 stitches, and I will meet you back at the beginning. Now that you've made it all the way around that around there should be 18 stitches, and we're going to start the pattern, this last row of 2 half double crochet in this first stitch, 1 in the next, 2 half double crochet in this stitch, and 1 in the next. Now, typically when you increase like this, you'll start with 1 and then do 2 and 1 and then do 2. I'm doing it in the reverse for a specific reason, so it doesn't leave a really big gap there. If you did it the traditional way, that would be okay as well, but this is the way that I would recommend you would do 2 single crochet, and I'm sorry, half double crochet, and 1 half double crochet, and then 2 half double crochet, and then 1 half double crochet. And you're going to repeat this pattern all the way around back to the beginning. I'll meet you back there. Okay, when we come back around, we should have 24 stitches. And to finish it off, I have done this a couple of ways. I typically cut my yarn and make an invisible single crochet there. I do find that doing One more stitch helps me to even that out a little bit. One more half double crochet. I'm going to cut my yarn and pull through. I'm going to thread my darning needle. And then I'm going to do an invisible single crochet where I'm going to insert my needle not into the next stitch, but the next stitch after that. And then I'm going to bring it back through. Don't pull too tight. And if your cookie was kind of squiggly or changing shape, we're going to fix that when we add the chocolate piece on the back and sew them together. So don't worry about it. Don't worry about perfection. We're going to take care of that when we put the chocolate piece on the back. So let's make the second piece and I'll meet you back here. You're going to duplicate this pattern. Now be sure when you duplicate this pattern, you do not cut off the chocolate yarn or the brown yarn. You're going to leave a very long tail so we can sew the two pieces together. Now that I've finished up the chocolate or the back of the cookie, remember to leave a very, very, very long tail. Not only are we going to sew the cookie together, we're going to create the chocolate strips. You could cut your yarn after you sew it together and cut a different piece, but I find that when I can do it in all one continuous piece, these chocolate strips sew in better and stay together. And I'll show you how I did that in just a minute. So just make sure you cut a fairly long tail. And then we're going to sew the two pieces together. And let me show you how I do that. So let's put our cookie together. So when we finish the chocolate side and we have the long tail, you still want to pull it through and make one invisible single crochet with your darning needle. I find that this evens out the piece a little bit. And just like with the first side, there was that extra half double crochet at the end of the row. And then you're going to go into not the next stitch here, but this stitch right here, and pull your yarn through. And then I'm going to go back and pull the long tail through to where I've made this stitch there. Okay, and then I'm going to weave my yarn over to the back or the wrong side of the cookie. Okay, so your piece should look like this. And then you're going to match the front side and the back side. I tend to use the wrong side as opposed to the right side on the back of the cookie. I'll show you why. I think it looks a little more textured and authentic to use the wrong side, but you could use whichever side you like. Match these up, make sure the hole in the middle is matched up. We can do some extra stitches to make sure that is sewn down, so no worries. Oops, this needs to be the right side, okay. So we've got the right side up with the light part of the cookie and the wrong side up on the other. Match them up as much as possible. Okay. So how I sew them together is I take the top of the loop on one side and the top of the loop on the other side and join them together. And then whip over to the top side and the top side and whip those together. I'll do one more. Okay. So it starts to make a more uniform connection there, like this. So go all the way around with this stitching pattern, and I will meet you back at the beginning. So I'm back at the end of stitching the two pieces together. And when I get to this last stitch, I'm going to go ahead and make one more. And then I'm going to bury the chocolate strategically. I'm going to insert my darning needle. I'm going to go around to the edge of the cookie. Make sure you're behind the stitch on the chocolate side. And then I'm going to pull that through. And that's where I'm going to make my first chocolate strip or drizzle, if you will, right there. So when you line up where you're going to do that very carefully, it doesn't have to be perfect. You're going to go behind the lighter part of the cookie into the chocolate, and then you're going to strategically, about 2 stitches up, come out on the chocolate again with your needle. Make sure that first strip is snug, but not too tight. Don't pull it too tight. And then we're going to cross it over for the second. And again, you're going to insert your needle behind the stitch in the chocolate and strategically, about 2 stitches up, you're going to bring it out. You're going to pull, not too tight, not too loose. Okay. And then this time we're going to insert the hook right on the edge of the center of the cookie. And you're going to make sure you grab that chocolate piece on the back like this. So this is going to help the chocolate piece to be sewn down to the top piece. So you're going to pull that. It should look a little bit like that. Okay. And then on the back side, you're going to have to insert your needle, your darning needle, and go around to the other side. Take this opportunity to sew those 2 pieces down a little bit, making sure the chocolate yarn doesn't come out on the other side. See, I almost made it come down on the other side there. Okay, so you want to make sure you don't come down or bring it out too much. And my chocolate yarn tail wasn't as long as I'd like, so I'm probably going to have to get a new piece. So I'm going to use that opportunity for a new piece right here. Let me get another piece of yarn. And I'm going to, in the chocolate piece below, line it up with the other side. And your needle should come out just before the edge, if you follow me, right there. Okay. I've got a really long piece here. Let me cut this long piece, and I can weave that in later. Okay, so we're going to continue. So I've got this piece here. I'm going to insert just under the stitch in the chocolate and about 2 stitches down. Now, if you don't like how you've lined up your chocolate stripes, you could always change that. That's not that difficult to change. You could always pull it out, reposition, and do it again. And yeah, because in this case, I think I went a little too far. So I'm going to back up that piece a little and then line it up. Doesn't have to be too perfect. And then under the chocolate, insert and strategically about 2 stitches down. We're going to bring that needle out. Okay. And then I can do my last chocolate drizzle or strip directly into the back. Okay. So again, you can be creative. You can make any type of embellishments that you think would look amazing. You're going to just tuck in all of your ends, which is really easy to do because, it's the dark color on the back. Super, super easy to just tuck those in and clip those off. And then I'm going to take these two pieces and tuck them in, and you're all done. So obviously you can make these cookies in any size that you like, depending on the size of the crochet hook that you use. If you'd like them to be uniform, you can use the same hook, the same pattern. Certain crochet projects that I make, I like it that not one piece is the same. For example, when I make crochet popcorn or strawberries or something like that, I like that they're not uniform. But in this case, you might want to make all of your cookies very, very uniform. So, all right. So there's the cookie. I think this little piece right here is where I let that yarn come up from the back a little bit. So let that be a cautionary tale for you. Here is my cookie. So I hope you come back. I am going to make several other kinds of cookie in a future video. So please come on back and join me, like and subscribe. And thanks for joining me.